Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MTB Shed. Today we're going to be jumping into a headset that's having some issues. So we're going to correct that. The headset is here, what your fork is installed into. So we'll jump right into it. You can check out previous videos. We did a diagnostic of this bike, and you guys probably can't hear it, but I can feel some major grinding and vibration, which is always pretty common, or it is fairly common in the lower bearing. So I bet you that's the only one we need to replace. The top feels like it's probably good. I don't feel any grinding or vibration coming from there. So first things first, we'll get everything removed. So when removing your stem, I don't, if you guys are watching this, maybe you don't know how a fork works, but there's a star nut inside the steer of the fork. We'll see that here shortly. I wonder if I do have the auto director on. So we'll see if the cameras can keep up with us today. I'm going to do my darndest to stay out of the way. We're going to do this one shot. I've already got the bearing set out because I knew we were going to. I'll put my tools away so I'm not looking around for them. All right, and we're unscrewing our top bolt from the star nut in the fork. Linda went and got a drink. She just had dinner. We recorded a video that's live on the YouTube. If you subscribe, you'll get to see shorts, mostly dog videos. It seems to be what YouTube likes the most. Sometimes I get away with, every good video revolves around Linda, it seems. So when you take out that top bolt, keep in mind that this is gonna, there's now nothing holding this all together. So you can pull your stem off, put it in your arms if you want to. Then you're going to have your spacers, you're going to have your cover. I don't know all the official names for these, I don't think. Then we're going to have a split ring. So this split ring or something along those lines, but you'll see that's got a hole in it. It's not broken. It's supposed to be like that, guys. So you'll be all right. And then we've got our bearing in the top. So let's move this fork. As you can see, we don't want it just dangling. So I planned ahead. I can let my bars kind of hang. I want to make sure nothing's kinked up when I'm doing that. But I use these guys most often. Beetle ties, we use them all the time in the shop for different things. Oopsies. Wrap that around there so I don't bang that. All right, so I got the fork sitting on a chair there. I've got the top secured. So it won't be moving around. We can get to work here on the headset. So I'm going to turn the auto director off because I think you guys will need to see more exact pictures here. I'll try to remember to swap these so you don't get too terribly bored with me. I will zoom in a little bit more as well on this guy. All right. So up top, like I said, we had a bearing here. There's basically no grease left in this, so that's not great. It feels a little crunchy too. So it's not bad though, and I don't know if I have. Another bearing or not for that. I think I do. All right, so this is bad timing on changing the views. All right. So it looks like I do have the correct bearings for this. FSA headsets have this 45-degree kind of angle on them, so it is a specific headset. And that is it. and no grindy. So good, we have all the bearings we need. It looks like we'll have to do a top and a bottom. I know the bottom's going to be crusty and gross. It obviously is. Look at that. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the rust we see. So whether you're washing your bike or really just the water coming off your tire, it kind of comes up around your fork and it gets into here, and then obviously water can sit there. There's a little lip. So, you know, I mean, watch out for that, guys. This thing's barely moving. Terrible. So we're going to clean that out in there. Again, anytime we're installing new parts, we want to be doing it on a clean surface. Clean that out. Get all this old grease out of here. All right, good deal. So we removed all the old grease. Now we can apply new grease. Park Tool has a PPL, blah, 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 polylube. That's great. So this is going to kind of do a couple things. A, it's going to keep things from creaking. So if you have a creaky headset, check the grease, and when you pull your bearings, and you'll probably find that you have a problem there. So I tend to overdo with grease. We're in the Midwest here, so it's pretty humid. You know, keep in mind if you have too much grease in there, you are going to attract more dirt. So you need to make sure you're cleaning your headset out more regularly. Maybe you're not riding when it's muddy. But super easy job. You can buy bearings. You should, if you know, look at your bike, look up your stats, and get some grease for the bike here. Linda girl, do you want to be on camera? Oh, Linda can't be on camera. She's too far back. So we'll zoom this in a little bit more with my greasy fingers. All right, so you can see I put a lot of grease in there. I didn't know I was going to be zooming in, or maybe I would have put less. But we want to have plenty of grease in there to ensure no creaking, and it helps serve as kind of a moisture barrier. So get that stuff in there. I love how I changed the camera and then moved to a different area. That's all right. You guys can still see me, I'm sure. So we're just getting that grease in there. This is a good thick grease. Nothing too thin. The thinner greases are going to be, you know, more for if you're, you know, repacking a bearing. Most of your kind of entry level bikes are going to be more of the either loose ball, if you have an older bike, or a carriage bearing. So basically loose ball bearings and this like kind of thin metal ring that they're inset in. That's not too great either. Again, that's going to be your entry level bikes. If you have that on your bike, then, you know, take it up to a shop, have them knock the cups out, and put a traditional sealed cartridge bearing in here. That's going to be a lot smoother and keep rust and dirt out a little bit better. You're going to be a little bit better protected. All right, so once I got my grease in there, I'm going to spread it around, make sure it's evenly coated. And again, I like to kind of fill that channel. Like I said, it's maybe different if you live in different areas, but here in the Midwest, it is humid, moisture gets everywhere. You can see all the rust in there. And I know my customers aren't going to redo this, so I try to make sure they're good and covered. All right, so plenty of grease in there. And that's basically all it takes, guys. I mean, that's it. If your headset's creaking, if it feels a little crunchy, just change it. It's not that difficult of a job. He had all of his spacers below the stem, making my job very easy. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe everything down. Bum, bum, bum. All right, and then we're ready to reinstall. I mean, that is literally it, guys. It is not a difficult job. Replace the headset bearings. If you need to knock the cups out, now you're adding another level. I say take it to a shop because if you need to knock these cups out, you could damage your frame in doing that if you don't have the correct tools. We have the right tools here at the shop. If I get a bike where we're doing that, I'll try to shoot a video for you. And then also pressing those cups back in. You need to have the right tools to do that. They're very expensive tools. You're better off just having a shop do it. We have those here. So yeah, if you have carrot stuff, then maybe if you want to switch that to King Creek. I'm not a big fan of FSA, but you can get them cheap. So to each his own. All right, we got our fork disconnected. We're going to be extra cautious. And all I'm doing here, again, like you can see inside of these, you know, there's a layer of grease here now. But you can see the angle they're on, so put them in to where they sit into that angle. It's pretty straightforward. So we have that 45-degree angle here because this is an FSA, so 45. So we're going to put the angle in. And that's not the right one. Darn. How is that not? That's quite unfortunate. Boys and girls. Let's see. This guy. No. It's the same one. Yay. Day saved. It's also a nice thing about taking things to a bike shop is we're going to have a lot of parts laying around. Who knows what I misordered to end up with those. All right, guys, so now we can get everything reinstalled. We're going to shove that fork right up and in. And this is definitely not the first piece to go on. See, now I'm all out of sorts. All right, so we got the fork in. Again, we're going to start with that split ring. It is meant to have that slit in it. That is good. We want that. That's what's going to keep our fork centered in the bearing. And then for FSA, we just have a cover. Sometimes you'll have another piece in between there. This is kind of the dust seal and the capper together, so we're good there. We're going to put all of our spacers on. I'm not going to be clever and change it on him. He seems to have very high-rise bars, so that tells me this customer wants to be as high on this bike as he can possibly get. I like to line up logos because I'm not trash. No, I think it's good to line up the logos. You might as well do it while you're working. Not that hard to add it into the mix. We've got another video on actually adjusting these headsets, but I will go over that briefly, and then I will pass you guys on to the rest of YouTube and see what everybody else has got for you. So you can see here, I keep transferring my hand. I'm not going to let go of this fork until I know that this screws all the way into my top cap. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing stuff right here. I'll need to wait till I get the wheel on so I can have the bike down on the ground. It'll make my job a little bit easier in adjusting all this. If I didn't want to do that, I could push this guy down. I'll bring you guys down with me, maybe. So you guys aren't going to be able to see me too great here. But basically I'll use the bars and I'll line them up. Yeah, I can't do anything with it up in the air. Or may try. It's fairly close. And I'll get the preload on my top cap done here as well. So basically how we do this is I go to a point of kind of contact, or where this tool naturally wants to pull out of my hand. So I'm pulling with an open hand, and right here just wants to pull out. So once I do that, I'm going to go one flat. So this wrench is going to have flats on it, and I always make my adjustments one flat at a time. So I'm going to feel that and pull back and forth on my fork, and that feels good. So that is properly tightened. Sometimes you have to go two, it seems, but for this bike, it was just the one flat. So I'll snug this stem down just so everything holds in place. Once I get the front wheel on, I got both wheels off on this bike, but once I get the front wheel on, then we will make sure the bars are kind of fully aligned. I've got them close for now. They're not perfect yet, but that's it. So easy peasy, as the guys would say here at the shop. So that's how you change your headset. If you need to replace the bearings, you can look up the specs of your bike online, or pull your bearings out and read them. They're probably crusty and need to be replaced. But it's not a bad idea every once in a while. Set a chair under your fork so that the cables don't get knocked around. Take this guy apart, see how everything works in there. Have some grease ready. Clean everything up, even if you're using the same bearings over. Wipe everything down. Be careful, don't use like degreaser in your bearings. You can't repack those sealed bearings. Just replace them. They're like 12 bucks. No reason to mess around and make your life more difficult than it needs to be. So I don't know where all my cameras are. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable for you guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope you can stop your bike from squeaking now. And I hope that maybe you notice when your headset's loose before you crack your head tube or damage something in the bike. Thanks, guys. See ya on the next one.